Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back. Today's daf is Menachos Daf Samach. We begin on Nun Talmud Beis. It's 6 lines from the bottom. So sometimes you have a mincha which may not feature oil or levina, as we learned yesterday. For instance, a minchas choite, a mincha that a sinner will bring. It's meant to be bare bones, no additional features, no beautifications, no oil, no levina. And in fact, there's a lav which says, Lo yasim alei hashemen. He should not place oil on the mincha, nor v'lo yitein alei levina, nor should he place levina on this mincha ki chatasi, because this is a minchas chatas, which is not meant to have those elements. Amar Yitzchak, Amar Yosef, Amar B'Yechanan. How much is considered a violation? Nosan mashu shemen, even a drop of oil. If that was placed al gabe kazayis mincha, provided it was put on a portion, a kazayis portion of that mincha. So you have a piece of the mincha and you put even a drop of oil pasal, that disqualifies the mincha. My time, look at the pasuk. Lo yasim, right? Lo yasim alei shemen, shouldn't place any amount. Sima means even cold, even a drop. That's in terms of how much oil. But in terms of the recipient, lo yasim aleha, on it, it needs to have a substantial shiur ad ika shiur, unless there's a shiur, he's not chayiv. So even a drop of oil on a significant portion of the mincha, at least a kazayis worth. That's regarding oil. Regarding levina, it's just the opposite. Again, based on the inference of the words in the psukim. Nosan kazayis levina. So here he took a kazayis amount of levina and he placed it al gabi mashu mincha, even on a small teeny piece of that mincha. Again, pasal, that disqualifies my time. Why? Look at the pasuk. Lo yitein alei levina. Yitein means an act of nesina. Lo yitein ksiv ad ika nesina. The lashon nesina indicates at least a kazayis. Rashi explains, because we find by the truma you give the kayin, and nasan the kayin is hakodesh, and we're talking that he ate the truma and that's why he's paying him back. So v'nasan alludes to a kazayis amount. That's regarding the amount of levina. But even if it's placed on a small, teeny amount of mincha, he's chayiv because it says aleha. Aleha means on it. Now, a minute ago we said aleha means a kazayis worth. Here we'll say even a drop. The answer is because there's a duplicate. The pasuk is repeating itself. Aleha by the shemen, a huge amount, and aleha by the levina, a huge amount. Havaribi acharibi, you have a riboy term, an expanded term, which is following another expanded term. And the halacha is that when we have repetitious ribuis, aleha, and then aleha again, have a ribu achariba, ve'en ribu achariba l'lamait. It has the opposite effect. It's telling you, no, you don't have to do that much. That's the formula we work with. Some say halacha b'shmisina. So again, regarding oil, even a drop, aleha on the kazayis. But a levina needs nesina, a kazayis of levina, aleha even on a small portion of the mincha. Vika de Amri, some had a different version. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Bar Yosef, Boy Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan actually posed it as a question. So we know by the levina, it needs to be a kazayis of levina because of the lasha and nesina. What about by the oil? Boy Rabbi Yechanan, Nasan mashu shemen al gabe kazayis mincha. Mao. So you have a kazayis of the mincha, fine, that's aleha. And now you only place a drop of oil. Shall we say he's liable or not? It's only a drop, it's not a kazayis. It's not similar to the nesina of the levina. Mi ba'ina simuka nesina, should we compare the placement of the oil, sima loyosim, to the placement of the levina loyitain. There it's a gazayas here too, oiloi, or perhaps sima is different. Even a drop, take it, we leave it standing. Nosan shemal shirea, tanurabon. So again, back to the pasuk, loyosim aleo shemen, loyitain aleo levina. It almost sounds like there are two people involved. He's adding the oil, he's adding the levina, and only then is there a liability. Is that so? Yochel. B'shnei kahanim, perhaps it's specific to only when it's done by two kahanim. Talmud Leimar, the pasuk adds the word oleha. Begufa shel mincha kasem medav v'lo b'koyin. It's all about the mincha itself, not about which kohen did what. So whether it's one kohen or two separate kohanim, each one doing, there's the same chiyuv. You place oil, you're chayiv. You place levina, you're chayiv, even if both were placed by the same kohen. Yochel continues the brayso. So what about lo yitain kli al gabi kli? Perhaps you can't even take a container with oil and just sort of stack it onto the mincha without actually mixing the. V'imnosan pasna, if he does that, it disqualifies the mincha. Talmud Leimar. No, it says aleha. The actual material cannot be the recipient of oil. Begufa shel mincha kasem medaber. It's only possible if he mixes it in, as opposed to when it's separate. Continues the Mishnah. Now, some menachos require hagasha, which is taking the container with the mincha material before the kmitza happens and approaching the mizbeach. Which corner? The mizrachas draimis corner, southeastern corner of the mizbeach, and giving it a little tap, a little touch. The kli to the mizbeach. That's called hagasha. That precedes the act of kmitza, etc. That sort of prepares it for the next step. Then we have something called tenufa, where you take the material and you wave it back and forth, up and down, in all directions, to declare Hashem's as the ultimate power, the source of all existence, right? So both these elements aren't always present in all menachos, just as we had yesterday regarding the shemen and levina. We set up 4 categories. Here too, some menachos have both processes done, hagasha and tenufa. Some none, some one, not the other, and others just the opposite. It says the mincha yesh tunois hagasha. Some menachos require hagasha, but not tenufa, and tunois tenufa. Some need hagasha utenufa, some tenufa v'lo hagasha, and some none, lo tenufa v'lo hagasha. Ve'elo, the following items: tunois hagasha, ve'ei tunois tenufa, hagasha yes, and tenufa not. So we have the standard 5 donated menachos. That's the menachas hasoiles, v'amachvas, v'archeshes, v'alchalas, v'kikin. Okay. Then we have menachas kayana, menachas that a kohen donates, menachas kohen mashiach, daily kohen gadol chavitin, right? Menachas nachem, the one that a guy donates, menachas nashim, or menachas chayt. So these need hagasha without tenufa. Reb Shimon takes exception to some. He says menachas kayana, menachas kohen mashiach do not require hagasha. Ein bain hagasha. You know why? Because these do not have kmitza. The whole thing is offered on the mizbeach as one unit without kmitza. And he learns that hagasha is synonymous with kmitza. No kmitza, no hagasha. V'chol she'ein bain kmitza, ein bain hagasha. Amar Papa, k'le'echad esnan. Whenever we have a listing of the standard, menachos, it's always going to be 10 breads. Eser tznan. My kamashim, what's the point of Rav Papa here? Lafuki, as opposed to the Rab Shimon. Rab Shimon, who says the Amar regarding that 5th type of mincha, which is called mafei tanur. We have soiles, machvas, fried, right? There's something called mafei tanur, which comes as bread, baked. So, according to the Chachamim, you have 2 versions, 2 options. Either you have chalos, loaves, or kikin, sort of crackers. According to Rab Shimon, you can mix and match. You can have 5 of each. So Rav Shimon says mechza chalos, a mechza rekikin yamin. You can choose to bring half chalos, half rekikin. Kamashman, the point of Rav Papa is to highlight that our Mishnah apparently doesn't hold as such delay, because the Mishnah puts it together with the other menachos, which all come as a standard set of 10. So the seilos will have 10, machvas 10, chalos 10, rekikin. You can't mix them up. Okay, now we'll go to the main thrust of the Mishnah. Listing to us all those that need two noise, that need Hagasha and Tnufa, one without the other, or perhaps none. How do we know these differentiations? Tanabana, we have a brayso, which is based on a pasuk, which says like this: Ve'veisa es hamincha asher ye'aseh me'elel Hashem. Okay, he brings the mincha, which will be be'kriva al hakoyin. Ve'yigisha. That's the act of Hagash that we spoke about. Al mizbeach. So let's analyze the pasuk word by word. Ilu nemar ve'veisa asher ye'aseh me'elel Hashem ve'kriva al hakoyin ve'yigisha. If the pasuk would just stop there without including the word mincha, just skip the word mincha. I would speculate, perhaps only the kaimitz portion, which is meant for burning on the mizbeach, that needs hagasha. But the rest of the mincha, before the kaimitz, mincha minay, what about that? Mincha, as the pasuk of the word mincha, that actually hagasha takes place before the kaimitz on the entire mincha package. What about minchas choyte minayin? Who says we do hagasha on minchas choyte? Tamalayma es hamincha. The word es adds him as well. Now, why can't we just figure it out? Why do we need a pasuk for the minchas choyte? We can just figure it out based on a kal v'chomer, based on logic. Nemar hacha. Minchas or have. Some change it to have. Torah says bring minchas choyte, which means a minchas chayte, Rashi says, an obligatory mincha. V'nemar hacha or have minchas ndava. And we find that one is meant to bring, or could bring a privately donated mincha. So let's assume, they run the same track. Ma minchas ndava tu nagasha, minchas chayte tu nagasha. Let's compare. Just as hagasha is a required feature of minchas ndava, let's assume the same with chayte. Why do we need a new pasuk? Well, you can't really compare one to the other. They're two different worlds. Minchas Nadava is fully loaded, right? Minchas Chayte is bare bones. Mala Minchas Nadava shekein tuna Shemen Lavaina. We have Shemen Lavaina by the Minchas Nadava, as opposed to the Chayte. You can't compare. Well, that's not really a defining factor. Minchas Chayte dechiach. Mincha that a Chayte brings doesn't have those added, features, and still there's the Hagasha. Well, no, that's not a fair comparison. Mala Minchas Chayte shekein tuna Tenufa. You know why Minchas Chayte? Minchas Chayte stands out because it has an advantage. It needs tenufa. So, although it's lacking shemen lavaina, but it has other features. Well, minchas nadava techiach, that cannot be a defining factor. Tenufa can't be the one triggering the hagasha because minchas nadava is lacking tenufa and still has hagasha. So now we're not really sure what triggers the hagasha. Is it the tenufa? Well, that's not found by the nadava. Is it the shemen lavaina? That's not found by the saita. So we're not really sure. What's the trigger point? We're going to go sort of back and forth like a ping pong. The element you find over here is not found in the other, so that you can attribute it to that, and vice versa. So what's the commonality? What's the common factor to all? Hatzada, hashava shebehen. What's the one commonality between Saita and Nadava? Sheshav l'kmitza, v'shav l'hagasha. They both have kmitza and hagasha. So let's apply the same to Minchas Chayte, because it has kmitza, it should have hagasha. Why do we need that special pasuk, right? Avana yavi Minchas Chayte, sheshav l'hen l'kmitza, t'shlen hagasha. Well, no. We discovered a distinction between Chayte and the other ones, which sets it apart, if not for the pasuk, including it. Because you know what's a common factor between a minchas nadava and a minchas chayte, which is not found by the chayva, by the chayte. A minchas nadava, a minchas chayte can be offered by a wealthy person just as a poor person. It's not income related. As opposed to a minchas chayte, which is a unique accommodation for a poor man. It can't be bought by an usher as an ani. So perhaps that sets it apart. And therefore, regarding hagasha, you can't know. Which comes and says that a minchas chayte also has hagasha. Continues the Gemara. Reb Shimon Aimer, he's going to provide a source for hagasha by minchas ha'omer, which is the mincha that the public brings on the 16th of Nisan, to allow consumption of the new crop, and minchas saite as well. Let's see. Shimon Omer. So you have a mincha. This is actually a minchas marchesh. It's a deep fried mincha which one donates. It says vavesa. It's a mincha, right? As she also made Hashem. That's the pasuk we had before. V'kriva lakoyin v'gisha halamizbeach v'kriva v'gisha. So let's break down the pasuk word by word. We begin with vavesa. L'rabbis minchas omer l'hagasha. This is coming to add hagasha to minchas omer, because vavesa alludes to that type of mincha. What do we find that the term hava applies to Omer? V'cheinu Omer. Look at the pasuk. Vavesen. As Reish Omer, Reish is Katzirch Malakoyin. Okay, so we know that Hagash applies to Minchas Omer. The word V'ikriva comes to apply Hagasha to Minchas Soite. L'Rabbis Minchas Soite l'Hagasha, where we find the Lashon of Hakrava. V'cheinu Omer V'ikriva Yisrael HaMizbeach. So Hikriv, V'ikriva alludes to Minchas Soite. Now, why do we need a pasuk for Minchas Soite? V'dinu, let's just figure it out through a Kavach Chomer. That it requires Hagasha, based on the Hagasha of Minchas Choite, which was established before. V'dinu, man Minchas Choite, she'enet Tnuna Tnufa. Minchas Choite, the fact that it's, despite the fact that it's missing Tnufa, doesn't need Tnufa. Tuna Hagasha still requires Hagasha. Certainly Minchas Soite, which needs Tnufa, of course it needs Hagasha. Minchas Soite, she'tuna Tnufa. Ein oidin, she'tuna Hagasha. So why a new pasuk from Minchas Soite? The answer is you can't compare him to a Minchas Choite. You see, huge difference between a Minchas Soite which is barley related as opposed to a Minchas Choite which is wheat related. So perhaps a Minchas Choite which is a wheat, higher level mincha, that explains the Hagasha. Well, Minchas Ha'omer Techiach, take a look at Minchas Ha'omer, which is comprised of barley and still needs Hagasha. Apparently Hagasha is not exclusive to wheat. Again, you can't compare it. Minchas Omer has its own advantages. It needs Shemen Levena, which a Minchas Choite doesn't have. Well, if that's the defining factor, take a look at Minchas Choite Techiach. That undoes your argument, because Minchas Choite again is bare bones and needs Hagasha. So sort of, again, flipping back and forth. I'm not sure what's going to be the defining criterion. And what's common to Choite and Ha'omer? They both have Kmitza and Hagasha. So let's assume Minchas Choite as well. It's comparable to them in terms of the Kmitza requirement. Tishval and Hagasha should be compared to Hagasha as well. So we should compare them to the other ones regarding Hagasha and without the pasuk of V'ikriva, which teaches that Minchas Soite needs Hagasha. We should know on our own that needs Hagasha. Says the Gemara, you can't learn. No, you can't learn one from the other. Why? You know what's common to Choite and Omer, which is not by Soite, Shekein lo yuchshru lo kemach. In both, you need to use Seiles, which is more refined material. You can't just use plain flour. As opposed to Minchas Soite, which is a more mundane type of mincha, more base. Time of Minchas Soite, shehuchshru lo kemach. You bring kemach. The Gemara there says because it corresponds to the inappropriate behavior that the Minchas Soite is representing. In any case, you can't compare. So back to the question: how do you know Hagasha applies to the Minchas Soite? Oh, Tamulema V'ikriva comes the pasuk V'ikriva and adds Hagasha there as well. Now Rabbi Yehuda will slightly disagree with Rabbi Shimon. He learns the pasuk a bit differently. Rabbi Yehuda Ve'vesa. So he goes back to the beginning. Ve'vesa is what teaches to apply Hagasha to Minchas Soite, not V'ikriva, but Ve'vesa. L'Rabbis Minchas Soite l'Hagasha Omer. As we find the term Behavi as Korban Aleh, which applies to Minchas Soite, so Ve'vesa is a Minchas Soite. Aval, but he disagrees. He takes issue with Reb Shimon, who needs a pasuk for Minchas Omer as well. He says, no, Minchas Omer, we don't need a pasuk. To require Hagasha. Why? My time. Medina Ka'asya. That's derived from a Kavach Chomer without a need for a pasuk. Uman Minchas Choite she'ena tuna Hagasha. Minchas Choite, which doesn't need Tnufa, as we explained, but needs Hagasha, as established earlier. Minchas Omer, which needs Tnufa, she'ena Tnufa. Certainly in a din that needs Hagasha, tuna Hagasha. Well, you can compare Mal Minchas Choite she'kemoin chitin. Remember, there's a difference in materials. Chayte is wheat and omer is barley. How do you compare? Well, minchas soita techiach, that could be undone by looking at the soita, which is barley and still needs hagasha. Apparently that's not a defining factor. Well, malam minchas soita shkein bol about oven. Perhaps the soita stands higher because it has its own advantage. It's coming to verify his sin. The maskeras avani. So perhaps that's why it needs hagasha. Okay, well that's not present by the minchas chayte. Minchas chayte techiach. So that disproves your point. Then again, we sort of swing back and forth, not sure which way to go. So what's the one factor in common by the chayte and the saita? Shekein shaval kmitza, shaval agasha. They both need kmitza, and therefore they need agasha. I would say the same by the omer, even without the pasuk. It's comparable to them in terms of its kmitza requirement. So let's assume you compare it to them regarding agasha as well. Tishul and agasha. Okay, so this eliminates the need for a pasuk. In contrast to Rab Shimon, who required a pasuk for the minchas omer for agasha. Why? Why couldn't he just learn from this kal v'chomer? Why couldn't Rab Shimon agree? My parachas. What's Rab Shimon's sort of challenge to this kal v'chomer? Shimon parachachi. He'll do it as follows. You're attempting to compare, to derive minchas ha'omer from minchas chayte and soita. Minchas chayte and soita different than the minchas ha'omer, which is just a once a year event. Minchas chayte, soita can come all the time. So it's very different. Rabbi Yehuda responds, Ad Rabba, it's the opposite. Hamatzuyit fei, minchas ha'omer is more common. At least you know it's once a year. The Hanach, Zimnin, Kachas Klal, as opposed to the other ones, Minchas Chayte, who says somebody's going to sin this year? Soita, who says there's going to be a need for it? So if anything, go the other way. Now, the Brisa will just conclude with one more point. Just to clarify a little bit about the pasuk there. So the Gemara now will sort of challenge. We use the wording in the pasuk v'hikriva and vevesa for omer for so. How do you know? Maybe vevesa is coming to tell you a simple halacha. Vevesa says, look, although the Torah does, describe the 5 standard menachos that one can donate, perhaps you can concoct your own recipe. You could bring a barley mincha, right? And I would assume so, based on a kal v'chomer. Look, tzibur, not a just a basic analogy. Compare the private individual to the public. We know that the tzibur, the public, may be mincha menachitin, chayva, or maybe mincha menasa ern chayva. There are 2 variations of a public mincha. You can have wheat, you can have a mincha of barley. Right? Menachos ha'omer was barley. Other menachos are wheat. So perhaps af yachid, a private person as well. When he donates, he can donate one or the other. Maybe mincha menachitin adav, just as he can donate wheat material. You have a mincha menasa ern adav, he can donate barley. Tam leimar. Comes the pasuk and says, Eile. Right, that pasuk says, Me Eile. Only these. Eile, only those specified. You can't add your own variations. Perhaps the word Eila is not for this purpose. Rather, it's coming to tell you. Suppose a person gets up and declares, I'm going to bring a mincha without identifying which type. Eila, he's got to bring all 5. Maybe chamishta. Right? Maybe that's all it's saying. You've got to bring the whole package. The answer is no. If it would say Eila, maybe, but it says Me Eila, from this list. So even though he doesn't define, he doesn't identify, he can still choose whichever one he wants to bring. He doesn't have to bring all 5. Ratza. Achas, maybe. Ratza chamishta, maybe he can choose to bring one, choose to bring all 5. So clearly, there's no requirement to bring more than one. And Lashon Eila is telling us that you can only bring one of these five. Right? You can bring any one, but you can only bring one of these. You can't concoct your own. So back to Vehi Beisa. Obviously, it's not coming to allow a person to concoct his own packages. Rather, Vehi Beisa is coming to tell you that the Hagasha applies to the Menachos Omer, to Menachos Soita, based on the, depending on the opinions mentioned earlier. Here comes another drasha of Rabbi Shimon Omer. So back to that pasuk again. It says, Vehi Beisa Mincha. The word Esa Mincha is coming to Rabbi's Shar Menachos. It's coming to add Hagasha to other Menachos as well. Kigoyin, for instance, Menachos Nachrim, a guy's Mincha, Menachos Noshim, Lagosh. Perhaps Hagasha applies even to the Shtei Alechem, on Shavuos, or Lechem HaPanim, Tamalei Me'ela. That's an exclusion. It does not apply to those. Now, who's to say which one's in and which one's out, right? We include some and we exclude others. Who's to say, who says to exclude these two, include the other ones? I assume that Hagasha is more applicable to the other Menachos, which undergo a Kmitza process, whose Kmitza is put on the Ishim, on the fire. So it's more comparable to the standard Menachos discussed over there in the Pesukim, which need Hagasha on the Mizbeh. Let's assume the entire process, including Hagasha, applies to them as well, as opposed to Shtei Alechem, Lechem HaPanim, that don't undergo a Kmitza. There's nothing they contributed to the fire. So they're, in a way, dissimilar to the standard Menachos. So let's assume if you have a choice in the matter, we have to exclude some, these will be excluded. So what about a Minchas Nesach, which is a mincha which accompanies a carbon? Says the Raisa, Minchas Nesach. Minchas Nesach is completely on the fire. There's no Kmitza, just completely on the Mizbeach. Perhaps that needs Hagasha. So again, back to that pasuk, Kriva. It's a mapekei. This, not the other one. So we exclude Minchas Nesach. But Reb Shimon himself already used the word Beikriva earlier to include the Minchas Soita. So this word is unavailable now. Va'pikte. No, within the same word we have two indicators. We have Veikriv, which covers another Mincha, the Minchas Soita. We have Veikriva to exclude the Minchas Nesach. Says the Gemara, okay, so now you've chosen to include some and exclude others. Right? We include the Menachos Nachrim, but we leave out Minchas Nesach. Why is he the exception? We include the other ones for Hagasha. We push out Minchas Nesach. There's really, element of sort of disadvantage or relative inferiority by Minchas Nesach that justifies its exclusion. The answer is Mar ben Isham Menachos. I prefer including Menachos Noshim and Menachos Choyti Shabois B'Gal Atzman, because they are comparable to the standard five. Remember, there are standard five. After Tzilas, Machmas, Macheshes, right? Chal Rukikin, there's the donated Minchas where Hagasha is clearly stipulated. So we look for comparisons, for similarities. Mincha ve'isha, Mincha ve'choyte are similar to the standard five. Shabois B'Gal Atzman. They're all independent offerings. They're not accompaniments, as opposed to Minchas Nesachim, which is an accompanying Mincha, a different type of nature. Moitani Minchas Nesachim, Sheini Bo B'Gal Atzman, doesn't come by its own right, it's an accompaniment. Well, says the Gemara, then we have an issue, because according to Reb Shimon, back in the Mishnah, he excluded the Minchas Kohanim, Minchas Kohen Mashiach. Well, they are independently offered Menachos, they're not accompaniments, why are they out? But the Minchas Kohanim, Minchas Kohen Mashiach, Shabois B'Gal Atzman, they come on by their own right. Perhaps Hagasha applies there too. This is Reb Shimon again speaking. Mapikei, only this, not that. To exclude Kohanim and Kohen Mashiach. And once again, the question is, we already used Bigisha earlier to This word is not even extra. It's simply coming to teach us that you need to do the process of hagasha by the donated minchas. It's not an extra word. The answer is vigisha. Is coming to exclude. Min vihigish. If it says vihigish, that teaches us plain standard hagasha. Vigisha, the extra hay with the mapik hay, is excluding kain kayhanim and Mashiach, as we explained in the Mishnah, because there's no. We'll see in a minute why. Says the Gemara, so why are you choosing to exclude those? I mean, I understand you have to exclude, but who says it's those? So now, sum total, according to Shimon, we allow Hagasha to apply. We require Hagasha to by Menachos Nashim, Menachos Chayte, Menachos Nachrim. We leave out the Lechem Aponim and the Shtei Lechem, as we explained before, because they don't contribute directly to the fire. And now we're excluding more. We're excluding the Kehanim, the Mashiach. Why? We include other ones, but we exclude Loitzim Menachos Kehanim, Menachos Mashiach. Why? Says the Gemara, Mar Bani Shar Menachos, Sheish Men Leishin. You see, we'd rather include other Menachos, Menachos Nachrim, Menachos Nashim, etc., where there is a contribution to the Mizbeach's fire. There's a kmitza put on the Mizbeach. And also, boys b'glal atzma. They are independent offerings, as opposed to Menachos Nesachim, which is an accompaniment, right? So we already excluded those that don't have kmitza, which is Shtei Alechem and Lechem Aponim. Also excluded the Menachos Nesachim. And the third feature is V'yesh men l'keihanim. In a standard mincha, after you do the kmitza, which is placed on the mizbech, you have the leftovers for the keihanim. As opposed to umoitzi and shtei alechem lechem aponim, as opposed to those two, which, as we explained, don't contribute to the mizbech, she'emen le'ishin. We exclude umichas nesachim because that's not an independent offering, she'ein b'glal atzma. And finally, we also exclude uminchas keihanim, what's called Mashiach. In those, there is nothing for the Kayanim in it. They're completely burnt on the Mizbeach. So now we have a final tally of Reb Shimon's opinion. He includes everything except for the ones we just mentioned, for the reasons we just mentioned. Now there's one last final word here, a brayso which focuses on the word veherim, which is by the Minchas Marcheshes, a deep-fried mincha. So he lifts, he removes the portion for the Mizbeach. Yachal B'Kli, perhaps he uses a utensil to do that removal. There's a different pasuk later which says, do the harama, the removal b'kumtza, with his scooper, with his fingers. We learn that the term beherim is a manual separation, without a kli. Ma rama amar la'alan b'kumtza, just like the harama over there is b'kumtza, manually. Likewise, over here, behirim means by way of a manual scoop, not by way of a kli. Okay, so summation, we had a printout of menachos which need hagasha and those which don't, according to the sheet of the Mishnah of the Chachamim. We have so far only discussed those that have hagasha. Standard 5, the Soilis, Machvas, Macharshes, Chalas, and Rikikin. Also the Keihanim, Kei Mashiach, Nachrim, Nashim, Chayte. In the Gemara we include the Aimer, Saita, right? According to Reb Shimon, we exclude Keihanim and Kei Mashiach because there's nothing like Keihanim in them. It's completely bent on the Mizbeach. And the Mishnah actually says it a bit differently. It says there's no Kmitza. Basically, we don't separate. It's all directly on the Mizbeach, so there's no Hagasha. Ultimately, we have Psukim for everything. We also excluded Shtei Alechem Lechem Aponim and Menachos Nesachim. Otherwise, all Menachos require Hagasha. All the best to you and much Hatzlacha.